I enjoyed all of the ones on the button. That one I took a lot of fun with because when I was reading the script, I'm like, oh, this looks. I'm really good at like anticipating where the story's gonna go. And when I was talking with Aoki about it, I was like, yeah, I know what this is. I know how to do this one. And the button scene was definitely my favorite. But my favorite line that I liked was when you go into the room and there's a dead dude on the floor.
Hmm.
It's like, and it's like, oh, you don't need this key. I don't
I
think he
never
needs
got
this
that
key
far.
card, or she, or he, or whoever that is on the floor. I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
when you pick up the key card, there was a line in GO2 laboratory. You get this line when Andy says,
Hello, welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and our guest is.
"Hi, I'm Aoki, a VHR world creator, and a guest on today's podcast."
Thank you
Appreciate you being here.
very much so. Thank you for joining us. So, how did you get into world creation for VRChat, and how long have you been in VRChat?
It's actually quite an interesting story because the first time I got into VHR, I didn't have a VR headset at all. It was just a PC setup, and all we did was log in into VRChat, spend like 30 minutes just having fun, meeting people, and log off. It was 2018-ish, I believe, when Knuckles Empire was thriving. And I believe it was 2021, 2022. It was the first year that I got my headset and actually started enjoying VHR as much as it is as a social platform, not just a game, some people may call it. But it was awkward. For the first 3 months, I didn't speak. So I found the only way of communication with someone was sign language. It was the time that I started learning it and then teaching to my friends and making connections within this community. So it was the thing that got me started, got me the first taste of what VHR has to offer, honestly. But with Worlds, it's quite different because my first initial idea was to make like another sign language learning platform similar to the ones that existed before. So the world of the Shadows game, the first horror world that I released, was actually the idea to make the sign language world then turned into this. And I'm proud how it turned out, honestly. And after that, it was just like a snowball of events, things happening, community growing, and that's all.
Wow, that's pretty impressive that's where you started and that's where you ended up. What was the inspiration for some of the games you've made over time, like Exposure, for example?
Yeah, Exposure was a very interesting concept because it's basically a science fiction story, but at its core, it was based on an original real-life research done by Carl Jansky. He was an American engineer and scientist in 1930s, I believe.
Okay.
So his research on cosmic radio waves basically started this project because it was really interesting to take this idea and further enhance on that and make it into something different. So basically create a new story from an existing one.
Oh.
But as I said before, Exposure is a little bit different from all of my projects that I've done before, similar with game worlds. Exposure is an adventure. It's not just a horror game with silly jump scares that are waiting for you around the corner. There's something to it that I find really inspiring and very uplifting, so to say.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
It's
very uplifting. Zap zap. Don't play with the
yeah,
radio.
especially with all
Don't
the
play with the goddamn radio. Fights back.
So, what is the uplifting part that you're mentioning?
So Exposure at its core as a story is not basically a last chance for humanity to save itself, but to advance on existing theories in scientific research and help the mankind progress furthermore. Oops, sorry.
It's all good.
I have a little bit drift sometimes on my controller. I'll just put it away.
It's all good.
Okay, where we were at?
You were mentioning that it's a one of the uplifting parts is humanity could advance on itself on current theories and stuff of that nature is the uplifting part, if I remember correctly. You're explaining the uplifting part of
Yes,
Exposure.
because the space as we know of it now is pretty much unknown to us. It's a very strange feeling that you get of how many things are there and the scale and everything. So it is a very interesting setting, like space and aliens. It's very unfamiliar to us. This is why this science fiction story at some point is very connecting to us, to our human nature of exploration. And at the same time, it's scary in a way because you don't know what's next, what's going to be there in a few years, in a few decades, in hundreds of years. Because as a person, you only get to witness just a fraction of time that has passed or will pass.
Well, isn't that also part of one of the many things that humans fear is the fear of the unknown? It's one of the reasons why lots of segregation of people happens naturally. If you don't know who the other people are, then its space is no different.
Yeah, I can see that this way too. It's in our nature to fear the unknown, but it's also in our nature to seek the exploration part of it.
Okay. So, what is the story of Exposure then, may I ask? So
the story of Exposure, as I said before, kicks in 1930s when the Koljansky concludes his research, but doesn't find any other scientists that believe his theory. So later on, people do more research and conclude that these cosmic radio waves were actually coming from the center of our galaxy. And the main source that was producing these cosmic radio waves was the supermassive black hole located in the center of our galaxy, called Sagittarius A star. So in year 2029, the humanity starts a mission of construction of a spacecraft able to travel to the center of our galaxy in order to further explore and do a little bit of research, actually see what's going on here, and maybe find some new answers to the, like I said, scientific some research that would be going on, essentially.
Okay. And so that is what happens in Exposure. So how is Exposure different from your previous games then?
Exposure has a lot of content that is out of reach, that is not actually within the VRchat application itself.
Oh.
It first started with a few videos releasing on my YouTube channel as teasers to this game that actually explained a little bit and expanded on the backstory of it. So people who watched these videos know a little bit more about this game. There are many Easter eggs, like I've mentioned before. Like they're scattered all across the map, but they're really hard to find if you don't know where to look for them.
So where we went in our exposure video that you saw, is that like the main track you're supposed to go? Or are there other ways outside of that you can travel? Or is that like the main map area that we were did?
Currently, this is the main map area because the game is still in alpha, so it was not released. So this is just a fraction of what the complete game will look like. And the ending that you've got is the only one that is accessible at the time.
Ah. Okay.
In other words, I'm still gonna get zapped by the goddamn radio.
Yes.
I'm sure you will.
Keep playing with it. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. If you keep playing the radio, you'll get zapped. But at least you weren't like me and stood next to the meat thing too long, where you ended up with like almost 5 health at the end of it. In the one room with the giant monster against the wall. Not monster, creature.
Yes. This is essentially the first time that players meet something that can actually deal damage to them, and they don't understand the mechanics, so it's very strange to them why they keep losing health, and the strange sounds keep playing in the background.
It took us, as you could see, a little while to figure out, oh, we have health. Oh, look, it actually goes down. It took us a solid maybe halfway through the map before we realized this.
Halfway? I didn't even get that far. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, Raptor, guess what? Your health is going down. Oh, a little late, ain't it? Oh, thanks. Yeah, I got that hit real quick. Eek.
Well, to be fair, you kind of did that to yourself.
Pretty much, yes. Pretty much. I do it all the time, so it's no big deal. Yeah.
So,
it's like a kid playing with a light switch. Can't turn it on and off. Just keep turning it on and off, and hopefully the light comes on.
Or a kid sticking a really small wrench into a light socket.
Light
Speaking from
socket.
experience.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, where do you plan on taking exposure then? If you say it's an alpha.
Yeah, it was an alpha since last year. Because I had to shut down most of the projects, especially game worlds that have been going on, because I've been having a little bit of troubles lately, and I had little more time to spend on this, because after all, this is not something that I do full time. This is just a hobby, just a way to show my art to the community, get some feedback, and that's all.
Okay. Well, for it being a hobby, you do really, really well. The map is well made. It looks great. So I just want to say bravo. You do really, really well, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's excellent detail in it. That's, I might have died in it real quick, but I was paying attention more to the detail in it. It was really interesting. Watching everybody else scramble from one end to the other, but I was noticing the detail.
Yes, I'm always trying to step back a little bit from making something that doesn't look too real. Especially in Exposure, it was such a project that I wanted to feel real in all of the ways possible.
Okay.
This is why there's so many different things in Exposure that just makes sense. Like, for example, the spacecraft that was constructed to travel to the center of our home galaxy was made by the Nebula. And if you look closely, all of the branding within the ship is marked Nebula.
Oh.
This is basically a corporative sign that is can be seen all across the map. So if you look really closely, it's everywhere.
Okay.
On the simple things, just
So I do have a question for myself. I haven't seen, or I haven't looked too far into it, but what happened to the people of the ship on Exposure?
this is kept a little bit as a mystery, and within, as the law goes, you are the only one that was awakened from car sleep, but you were under a very a lot of medication, so you don't remember what actually happened. But throughout the game, you meet some of the crew, not in pieces most of the time as the game goes, but you see them. There were people there. Maybe not a lot, but they fled, or there might be something that happened to them, something horrible, so you're here to figure it out.
Okay. That's good to know. So, what led you to the inspiration for Exposure, and how was the process in making the world in the game for you?
The process of making the world was a little bit continuous. I'd say the project started in February and it lasted quite a long bit because I was working on it mostly weekends, spending a few hours a day just to see where this project takes us, because not every idea that I came up with actually releases to Vrchat. And I wanted to make sure with a project like Exposure that it had something going to it, that it was more than just another Vrchat sci-fi horror game or whatever. So I really took my time, did my research, and it came out as an Exposure that we know today. Even though it's an alpha, it's a complete experience that you can go and play by yourself with your friends. I made sure that it's Quest compatible, which was a little bit of pain, like with all the Quest compatible worlds, because you want to keep the quality, but you just keep crunching and crunching on some of the fine detail that you are putting on, you know?
Okay. So making things Quest compatible isn't always easy for world builders such as yourself, then?
It really depends on the style of your world and the main idea, because if the world is relatively small, you can do small sacrifices and it's going to be all right. With Quest in particular, it's not as great as PCVR, for example, simply because it doesn't have the power needed to run the most complex things that PCVR can. So when it comes to converting such game worlds, such vast experiences to Quest, it's always a journey. It takes a while, maybe a week or two, depending on the size, but the big wall that you're hitting most of the time is the upload size of the world. So they made it so it's 100 megabytes, I believe. And with Quest, when you trying to keep all the texture, all the fine detail, it's really hard not to make it blurry because sometimes normal maps doesn't work, sometimes your backlighting doesn't work in the way it intends to, because Quest might switch from vertex to pixel setting and so on and so forth.
So is there any content or things missing from Quest that PC players can see? Is there any like a difference in that between the platforms for Exposure?
It's actually a nice question, because I've seen some creators making so much adjustments to the Quest world that it doesn't even look like the one on the PC version. But no, with my worlds in particular, I try to keep everything to the finest setting, trying to keep all of the detail possible. If there's something that I can sacrifice and it's not major, I might do this. It's not crucial. Someone might not even notice. It might be just one normal texture, one thing that you won't even see on Quest because of the resolution of your headset, so it's not a problem. But with big projects like Universal, for example, where I'm trying to keep the geometry to scale and I'm using satellite imagery with really high resolution, it was quite hard to keep the same level of quality and detail to just maintain this feeling of being there. And not just looking at 2D image on Vrchat through your highly advanced lenses.
Okay. That is, I do hope over time with the Quest platform specifically that they're able to boost a lot of what they're able to handle, at least within processing power, so that world builders such as you won't need to like take the axe to the entire project in order to make it fit. I do believe with the 3 and 4 Quest versions coming out in the pros, I think they did some major upgrades, I believe, to the processors and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not just about the headset you're using, because Vrchat on its own as a platform are actually making some of the restrictions to the worlds that you're trying to upload to this platform. Same with the content size, same with using some textures, some shaders, materials. It's all Vrchat driven. Because I probably believe you've played some of the games on Quest, like on standalone, Android powered headset, and you might have noticed the difference that exists within Vrchat and like other games are handling this. Because Quest is actually more powerful than Vrchat gives it credit for. But what we're dealing here, because it's a social platform, there are avatars. That's an additional level of detail that hardware needs to handle. And there's also, it's running on Unity, so there might be some complication with that as well.
Okay. All right.
So Vrchat essentially is trying to keep this level of playability on their platform instead of giving it all and sacrificing the performance for the sake of visuals.
Well, yeah, that I've noticed a lot of VRChat content creators versus like large AAA studios and stuff. Optimization isn't always on the forefront of a lot of people's minds a lot of the time when you like world hop and stuff. There'll be some worlds that are very well optimized to the point where you're running at 120 frames, and other worlds very heavy in shaders, very unoptimized.
Yeah. This is not really an issue because Vrchat is a free platform, so everyone that has an access to Unity can upload the world, but not everyone understands that you have to optimize it as well to make it more accessible to people that are willing to join your world. And Vrchat recently have been taking a few steps to make sure that more creators are optimizing the worlds. I've seen more tips come up in a new Vrchat Creator Companion, where it's like, you have this object that is very dense and is going to run poorly in some system. Please remove it. Some sort of that. And there's just about an artifacts. So people don't have to really care or understand why this is an issue. So all they can do is learn from their mistakes.
Okay. Well, that's really awesome that Vrchat is trying to give tips and stuff to help people learn to optimize. Do you know of anything else that Vrchat's doing of under that vein?
Well, they moved on from SDK 2 down to SDK 3, and now it's also been removed and put into Creator Companion. And it's pretty cool application because it essentially keeps a lot of add-ons that you would normally have to search on web, like Udon, for example, for coding your worlds, for making a certain interactions possible. make it more accessible to a huge variety of people by doing this. So they're essentially broadening the audience of creators and making it seem more easier than it actually is, which is great. I think it's great that more people get to create something they really wanted but didn't know how to do.
That is one of the things I do agree with you. I do enjoy seeing people build things, and world hopping and seeing what people create in VR chat is one of my personal favorite pastimes, because you get to see a glimpse into people's minds as they create things, and that fact that VR chat is making a platform for people to create so freely, especially since in a lot of the recent events this year, you could see VR chat as siding with allowing people to build and express themselves. It doesn't seem like they want to invoke rules to prevent that. It seems like they're, to some detriment to themselves, want to lean into allowing people to be themselves.
Yeah, that's true. It's truly wonderful to see more people join this creative journey of some sort. Because, like, similar to my friends, they say, "Oh, I have this really wonderful idea for this world, but I don't really know how Unity works," and it's a problem. But with VRchat, you don't essentially need 90% of the Unity essential. How do I put this? You don't need 90% of the Unity's functional to actually make a VRchat world. You can just start from scratch and see where it takes you, because the most beautiful things that I've seen on this VRchat platform have been just really pieces of art that people put their dedication towards and just their time. And it's really a thing, because all the creators on VRchat, at least most of them, they're selflessly creating something for others to explore and truly enjoy. And yeah, there's some that trying to build a community around it, but most of the time it's just someone trying to express themselves, and it's wonderful.
I do very much agree. It is nice to see that VRchat has that kind of community with people such as yourself, who's willing to make such amazing, beautiful worlds and content, and just do it without expecting much. And I'm very glad that people such as you exist here, because otherwise VRchat wouldn't have gone nearly as far as it has, and I wouldn't have met all the amazing people here I have without people such as yourself.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's great to see VRchat evolve as a community throughout the years. There are many creators from the past that stuck around. There are many new ones that are arriving at the time. And it's really great to see VRchat develop this community throughout the years. Because it really started as just a new metaverse, that's how they call it. Just a new virtual reality game, social VR oriented, and I believe they didn't know where to take this idea from this point into the future. And I'm really glad that VRchat became what it is today. And I'm very hopeful that it's going to stick around for a little bit. If VRchat investors not gonna get mad at not getting any revenue or what of some sort, because they've been promoting the VRchat Plus subscription quite a lot recently. They may been making new updates to it and stuff.
Well, I'm only gonna guess. I'm not so much into the business side of VRchat, but I can only assume by them, like for example, allowing the security to be run by VRchat groups. So you could see with some of the recent updates with VRchat, if you look at the groups, you can assign your VRchat groups moderators or people with moderation powers of an instance, stuff like that. And maybe those decisions may be causing them some investors. That's just my assumption in theory. Tell me if I'm wrong, please, down there. I'd like to know. But I'm assuming with those decisions that maybe it's causing them some problems, so they're leaning into VRChat Plus. And then you have the whole Unity shenanigans going on right now as well, with the whole 20 cents per install.
Yeah, but Unity already apologized for the initial idea of charging creators, and they mentioned that only new games made with Unity starting from 2024 are going to be following this certain program that they've been trying to put out, like charging for downloads, and they made it less aggressive, I would say. It's not as problematic as it is. It's not as problematic as it's been like in the beginning of September when they announced it first.
Yeah.
So luckily they made some changes to it.
I'm glad they did, because I don't use Unity a whole lot, but what I see by content creators for like Rust, as an example, or Gary's mod, they were very pissed off about what was going on, and it looked like a lot of Unity games just may end up disappearing from the internet by 2024 because of those decisions.
Yeah, it was really problematic, and I've seen many developers stand against this decision made in Unity, because it's not just about the fees that they're trying to introduce for downloads, for example. People just didn't really understand how this is going to work, how Unity is going to track developers and their applications. So it was really confusing, and I'm just glad they finally came out and brought some clarity with it and changed the rules, basically flipped them over. Because this decision could have affected VRChat very much.
Yeah.
Because after all, VRChat is made with Unity as well. And I think that might have ruined VRChat at all.
I think to some degree, I think VRChat would be relatively fine. It's not like VRChat made money from it, although they would owe. Tupper made a post on Reddit somewhere that kind of circled Twitter, where he said VRChat would not be affected because of VRChat Plus subscribers, and thank you. That seemed to be a message from VRChat as well, even during the whole Unity shenanigans.
Yeah, but VRChat Plus subscribers, even though this may seem like a decent stream of revenue, but that's not enough to keep the investors of VRChat happy and keep their platform running. So they might have introduced some changes to it as well to just keep afloat, keep this application running. But after all of the content within VRChat is made by the creators on VRChat, just by other people that are creating this content. But the VRChat application by itself might have not been around because of this.
Oh. Well, then I'm very...
It's just strictly my opinion.
Well, I'm very glad that Unity changed their mind. Although, even though they changed their mind, it does seem the views of a lot of people who use Unity, whether developers or even VRChat world builders, seem to be that they don't trust Unity as much anymore. And it seems like there's some fear that they may do it again without warning or without explanation as to the change.
Yeah, because there was a very, very long time that people started feeling something off with Unity and started switching to different engines before that change was even announced back in 2018. Because the company changing its terms of service doesn't seem so trustful, you know?
Yeah.
And people just didn't see much, didn't trust Unity enough to keep using it for their games, for their projects. Complete studios even started shifting to other engines like Unreal, like Godot for developing their projects. And it was happening for quite a while now. So this particular change only added new flames to the fire.
I was unaware that so many people were was feeling sketchy about Unity before the change, and I do know there are a lot of indie studios are switching to Godot too, and I don't think they intend on going back. So I think with this whole event that Unity decided to pull off, they may have lost a lot of business, probably permanently because of it, even though they changed back.
Yeah, but Unity will not try to win them back, because it's not just the way is Unity run by right now by the executives and whatever. But when people switch to a different platform to develop their games, it's a very big hit for a studio like Unity, especially when it's not just indie developers. When it's AAA studios, it's very big hit in revenue, and for the company it might not end well, especially after all the bunch of stock that's been sold by the high-placed executives like CEOs or something. And recently not recently, but in 2021, they partnered with a service for advertisement, I believe. And people say that their CEO was responsible for this change that was announced in September, essentially.
Okay. Well, even with all this Unity stuff, I do hope that it doesn't affect VRChat too much. But if it does come to a point where it does affect VRChat, I think one thing a lot of people got to think about is if VRChat will have a choice. Either you can stay with Unity and then start charging money for a lot more things, and VRChat may become a lot less free. Or it can change engines, which means all the content we know and love may vanish. Especially worlds like Treehouse in the Shade, way back when. There will be a lot of content that if it's not it's not able to be moderated and fixed to the new engine, it may just be gone. So I think at some point we may have that question spring up. Do we switch or do we stay?
Yeah, but this is a question really that for VRChat itself, we don't really know where the future of VRChat lies at this very moment. Because right now people are creating worlds, creating avatars, making content. But within a few years, there might be a new platform, a new social platform that will go just as popular as VRChat. And we might all just switch to that platform and not care about VRChat anymore. Which is going to be really sad, because a lot of communities that grew along, that essentially started in VRChat, are going to be destroyed because of that. That's going to be really sad to see that.
It will, although at least VRChat, whether it's around or not, can boast that it is a cornerstone and an important cornerstone in the metaverse in general. Because if with all these people creating platforms out there, none of them seem stable. Look at Neo's, for example. It was a small staple and then disappeared quickly. But amongst the years of all the platforms that arisen and fallen, VRChat's still been there. But what, since 2017, 2016, so it's been 6 or 7 years. Lots of empires risen and fallen, and VRChat's still chugging along.
I believe 2016 was just the rise in popularity of VRChat because of accessibility of VR headsets. But actually VRChat, if I recall correctly, was first released in 2011.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I remember it has quite a history, but it was nothing like it is today. it was just a small community of people willing to expand on this idea of virtual reality. And so what we have today is really special. Nothing is like this today. I agree on that. But speaking of metaverse, it's really broad term that not many people can understand, and basically no one can define what metaverse actually is. So when people refer to Vrchat or other social VR application as metaverse, for me it seems a little bit not quite right, I would say.
Okay. When I said the metaverse in general, I wasn't referring to like VRChat as a metaverse. The way I see it is VRChat is a part of a greater whole that is. But in terms of like the platforms that use VR and AR and call it home, not a lot of them do it well. Like there are people like the crypto bros with Decentraland. There are corporate attempts to creating platforms like Horizon Worlds that are failing. There's Neos, lots of... It doesn't seem a lot of people who want to bring their own pizzazz here do it well. But VRChat somehow is probably, I'd say, the most stable platform currently that exists within. And that's generally what I meant. I was referring to VRChat as like the big metaverse. It's just, it's a place you can go within.
Yeah, I see your point. And the reason VRChat stays for so long is because of its community. It's clear to us that it's people that truly enjoy these spaces, these worlds, love making new ones. It's because of them, and we're grateful for that.
People such as yourself as well. As I said earlier, without people such as you creating things, VRChat wouldn't exist.
But I don't honestly refer to myself as a big VRChat content creator or just VRChat content creator in general. I'm just someone who found this little hobby of mine and just doing worlds for people to enjoy and just for the sake of enjoyment of them.
Oh, I know. I'm aware. You may not see yourself as a greater whole, but within what VRChat is and has become, every person who creates content is still important for the sense of, so, like, for example, our little video in a group who found your world had a great time because of what you made. And there are other people as well, from people like you, Wispy Woo, Artsy, who create worlds that partook in other groups and friendships within their worlds. Gave a place for people to visit and go, have memories. And you may not see it as like as a VRChat content creator, but I see you as one. You have made a place people can enjoy. It may not be where you would like to go, but you still partook in that of VRChat. Even the person who uploaded a plain space of a world that's just a plane with a skybox still helped in that, I'd say. But that's just my view. I'm a very simple being.
Yeah, a person who uploaded a plane with a skybox is really a contributor to this community, I would say. This is such an art that we just can't comprehend fully as human beings, just bones and flesh.
I see.
This is beyond our imagination. This is something out of reach.
Indeed. I see VRChat and VR as a general as a way to see into people's minds. It's one of the reasons why I do enjoy world hopping. When I find worlds like Exposure or Prologue made by Dr. Morrow, you get a very good glimpse into the creator's mind in a sense, because it takes a whole lot more than just a bunch of words. You have to put a lot more thought into it, between the textures, the art, the building of the meshes and everything like that, and where placement is. You get a really good glimpse as to who they are as a person, which is really awesome to me. I get really excited by world hopping. this guy has tried to follow me, Raptor, many times where I'll like blip into a world, get excited, disappear, then go off to the next world like a child in a candy store or a road full of candy stores.
Candy store? Shit, you're trying to keep up to him. It's like going, would you stop and just wait 5 seconds and enjoy what you're seeing? Or goddamn, slow down. Well, I didn't know you were following me. Shit, I yelled at you 3 times. So, well, it happens. But like Lion's saying, and everything else like this, it's just, it's the biggest thing when I go into a world of a creator like with you or anybody else. You look at the world going, yeah, they're like this. This has got a lot of detail. But what's the creator trying to tell you? See, that's the biggest thing about VR, no matter what you look at, is what is the person trying to explain to us in his own mind? No matter if it's just a place that you sit in front of a mirror or watch a video in or a haunted map, whatever. What is the person trying to tell you? The artistic mind and everything else like this. It might have a storyline behind it, it might not. But in anybody's mind, it does. Because you're trying to tell us who you are in your own way by what you create. A lot of people don't see that, but I do, because I used to draw my own I wished I could do what you guys do. I can draw it on paper, put it down, make it in ink, paint it, and everything else. But when it comes to putting it in this field, I'm lost. But being an artistic person, I see what you throw out there. Because every artist has their own style, own thought, method. It's like looking into a painting. In this case, let's logically look at it. If this was a painting, and you're on the other side of, let's say, that mirror looking in, you'd be looking at the painting going, what's this person trying to tell me? As a painter or an artist, what are you trying to explain? And what do you see? But guess what? We'll never know. That's the general fact of it all. When you look at a painting, everybody sees it in a different form. Same with being in VR, it's just more artistic work behind it. And playing your game and getting zapped with the radio, you're talking about a guy standing there going, I was running around like everybody else, not knowing what they were doing, like I usually do, but I was looking at the world, and then I'm touching the stupid radio going, what the hell am I doing wrong that everybody else is still alive and I'm dead? And I'm just standing back watching everybody else. Whoops. It's just the way it goes. That's part of having fun in VR. So we appreciate those creators that create these worlds, because guess what? People like me that want to create, everybody goes, oh, you can do it. It's not that I can't. It's the idea of the programming setup behind it that slows me down. That's it. Because if I could do what you do, I could actually go up, if I had the time and money, to go up to somebody that's a creator and give him my point of view of what I want in the world. They'd stand back and go, God, I can't do that. Why not? Look at it. Why not? See, that's an artistic mind. Why not? Well, sooner or later, that why not will be out the window, because it's getting there further and further as we go along, month by month. New stuff comes out, and it gets deeper and deeper into what the creator wants to throw. And thank you guys. I wouldn't be here to be a nut if you weren't here. So, yeah. Just like playing games. Look at just even a gaming creator. What they have to go through, if it's just by themselves or a whole bunch. We'd still be doing it the old-fashioned way, like Line says, sitting in front of an old Atari going, God damn, I hope this block gets across the screen and bounces from one extreme, and that's Pong. That's all it took. So.
Cool. Indeed. I do agree with you, Raptor, with everything. And you guys, I deeply appreciate all you world builders. I generally do.
Thank you.
And keep doing it. Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. Keep creating, please. If not, guess what? I can't hop along with line and get lost yelling at him, you asshole, stop hopping, I can't keep up with you. Because, you know, that's part of it. Everybody's got their own style playing in VR. So, we appreciate the people that create. And don't stop. Please don't stop. Keep creating. Let our minds try to figure out who you are. Guess what? We would never will, but hey, that's the fun trying to. That's the great thing of being in here.
Yeah, this is very interesting seeing your point of view on creation within VRChat and worlds within VRChat. But sometimes you find people that are just world hopping for the sake of it. So they don't get the time needed to appreciate someone's work enough. And they're already in a different world, watching something else. But it's a thing, and I think that's all right, because everyone has their own pace of discovery, of their own exploration of the world. Someone is looking for their own meaning within the world in VRChat.
So, is there any place from within VRChat that you found inspiration from, or you feel inspired by?
It's really funny because I don't generally spend much time in VRChat as much as I want to, because all of the time I had was dedicated towards making worlds that are now available for other people to enjoy. So in this matter, I can't really speak if I was able to find inspiration in VRChat or not. Might have seen some similar works, might have enjoyed some of few game worlds, but as far as it goes, I'm simply a new player to VRChat still. I still haven't fully grasped on that beauty that VRChat has to offer, and the majority of worlds there might have been visited by me, but not because of the time that I didn't have for them.
Okay. Well, for the meantime, it's not like, oop, come on, camera. Uh-oh.
What are you doing? Showing your feet again?
No,
I
my
told you
camera
to quit.
decided to stop
Oh.
working for half a second.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like VRChat will be going anywhere, so whenever you do have time, there's still a whole lot to see, and even the old worlds that are gone are still here. For the meantime. Oop. What'd I do?
Now he's over the thing. Told you. Yeah, he's pushing buttons, you know, like me, getting zapped. He's over here just pushing the wrong buttons.
It's not intentional. I clicked the pin 1 and then teleported back to spawn. I don't understand.
Welcome. Like we say, welcome to VRChat. The wrong button might put you in the wrong place, but it's a funny place that you might end up at. Oh boy. Yeah, I get it all the time. I can come into a world, and all of a sudden it's weird because I like to do it sometimes. I don't do it. VR does it. Everybody will pop into a world, and guess what? I'm on the outside of it looking in, and my body's standing there. Now that's another perspective that most people go, oh crap, I gotta move. No, I stand back and just see it. You know, I look at things differently and everything else like this. I have for a lot of different reasons. But when you see something like that, you look at yourself going, besides looking at a mirror, you're looking at the backside of your head and going, wow, this is what I look like from the backside, knowing I can't see it. So you know it. So you know what everybody else sees. But yeah, it's like what you said and everything else like this. You don't get the time to hop, but what you've created, your ideas have got to come somewhere, and your imagination is all you got. Run with it. Boy, look out when they actually get the things that you want to do go further and further ahead. And it's cool. And it's great. That's why I keep coming back. Now he's doing a T-pose. It ain't Christmas, it's Halloween. What are you doing?
I don't understand. I'm clicking on my camera, and then it makes me do things like teleport back, T-pose, and recalibrate.
Welcome to VR. That's what we love about it so much. Everybody complains about going, God damn it, what the hell did I do? You didn't do anything. It's just the way it works. Deal with it, move forward, go, yay, I'm still here. Boy, and I don't even have my headgear on. I'm just a stiffy because, you know, it's like anything else. No matter what you have or what you do, something's going to screw you up. And you've probably been that way even creating something. I bet you, I can imagine some of the stuff that these people have gone through to try to get their point across. And you go, okay. Because, you know, you don't get that feedback. You don't see a storyline over there. This is the shit I had to go through to create this damn thing, and I'm still having a goddamn problem with it. Does anybody know how to help? No, you got to learn it on your own, unless somebody feeds you where those little screw-ups are. And that's another thing about VR. You said something earlier about communities. The communities are great. You just got to fall into the right one. And wow, the people you get to meet, that's even more. Because without these worlds, we would never meet you or the other people and stuff like this, the people you hang with. It's great. I just keep it going. Because you get to meet different nationalities of different folks of all different types and different ages in situations like that. And that's the way it goes. It's great.
So, what hardships in your creation process have you come to over your worlds?
Well, I'd say at the very beginning, because the first project, the Shadows game that I was making, I didn't know how to use Unity or how to code at all. So I had to learn everything from scratch, basically. It was the first world that I hit, but luckily, I've had a similar experience with like 3D modeling software or maybe some coding experience, even though it was different language, but still the structure looked kind of similar. So I would say this was the first really obstacle in my way in making some of the worlds that I came up with. Like you said, you might have the idea, but you don't know how to make this work. So all you have to do is yourself, unless you find something that might help you, like tutorials, for example. And at the time when I was making my world, basically Udon, the language of Vrchat that helps with interaction and stuff, I didn't understand anything at all. My game was so buggy, you won't even believe it. And I was just lucky. I was so lucky to have my friends to come over and help me test some of the functionality within the world, because I just couldn't make a goddamn door open on a click of a button. That's simple, but I ran into an issue of making it happen actually. It just didn't work. It might open for someone, but it didn't open for me, so I gotta fix that. Oh, he goes another week. I guess so. So it was really hard getting into Unity, getting into coding, all this stuff. But once I got there, I looked back and said, this is something I struggle with. Are you kidding me? It was that easy. But it was because of all the knowledge that I've gained along the way. And all the connections that all these worlds helped me build are purely amazing. Especially the Vrchat prefabs community. Because I've been learning from their projects on how to make something of my own. Basically looking at their core coding structures, maybe some of the prefabs, some models, how they're made, why they're made this way. And they help me understand the way that I can make my own things and worlds and avatars and this sort of art, I would say.
Okay. So I'm going to speak from a very ignorant place. What is VRC prefabs?
VRC prefabs is a community of creators that are making different prefabs. Do I have to define what a prefab is?
No, I know what a prefab is, but the group itself. Sorry, I
Okay,
did specify.
right. Yeah, thank you for simplifying things, at least to this extent. So yeah, Vrchat Prefabs is a community, I believe, that was made by Fiona, a very wonderful person, and they always try to find new creators that are willing to contribute to the Vrchat. They are releasing different prefabs for the community to use for free on their platform, and thus making the process of making your own world, for example, setting up a working mirror in your world, pretty easy and straightforward, because all you have to do is just drag and drop.
Oh wow, that's a really amazing thing for the community to, or Fiona and the VRC prefabs to do.
Yeah, and even though I haven't actually been a part of this community quite a lot, but as I've mentioned earlier, I basically started on the works and the prefabs, so they help me shape my own worlds and make them more complex, more enjoyable for people to be in and experience. Because it's always about the simplest things when you think of it. Your world may be as simple as a plane with a skybox. But if there's, let's say, a table with a bottle that makes sounds when you hit it with your fist, it's quite cool, right? It's something to it that wasn't there before, but the community helped you make this because you had the idea, but you didn't know the way of how to make this happen.
The Vrchat community during my... Okay, camera, quit doing funny stuff. This time it opened my big menu. The Vrchat community, amongst the couple of years I've been in here, have always amazed me at how very quickly and easily and willingly they'll help people. Like, you could be at a black... I've used this reference a few times. You could be at a black hat. Oh, I'm having an issue with Unity and or my headset. Someone just spring up. This is how you solve the problem. I've had it myself. And then off into ether they go again. You may never see them again, but they'll just come in, give you your answers, help you have a conversation, and gone. Or they may be your best friends later on. I like that about this community, is how kind they are to each other.
Yeah, I've experienced it quite a lot. Just the pure kindness and willingness to help other people selflessly is just a beautiful thing to witness on this application. Because with other communities, you don't generally see such level of appreciation to others' work, for example, or you don't care as much about others' problems. But on Vrchat, it's different. People are willing to help you because they may know the solution. They may know how to fix your issue, and they can just go on the way, but they may just become your friends as well. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just something about the VRChat community that feels different than other games or even social media platforms. Is it maybe just because I've been here a while and I know a lot of people, it feels different. But VRChat to me feels very unique compared to the rest of the internet.
Yeah, compared to the rest of the internet, VRchat is the purest place on earth. Not all of the internet. But yeah, there's also a dark side to the VRchat that may not all people talk about a lot, but that's nothing. It's going to be there. It's a large social VR platform. Of course, there are going to be some bad apples thrown around, but it's okay. I'm glad that we don't see them so often on the Twitter, for example.
Well, there are people like the Ripper gangs and the Crasher gangs and the people who want to see the world burn, but even then, VRChat is still a unique place because both tend to live together in this digital place we call a city, VRChat. And generally speaking, it hasn't stopped anyone from enjoying VRChat as it is. Even if people are ripping your content or using a botnet to make an entire furry instances disappear, it still doesn't stop VRChat players from being VRChat players, even if they're using their full body for a very specific purpose.
Everyone has their own reasons, right? But yeah, like I said, it's just another community within VRChat, and we just get along. Maybe not easily, but we know they're here. They know we're here. We live together in VRChat, and it's always been like it. And I hope that this legacy, this idea of kindness carries on to the future with VRChat, that people will stay true to themselves, that they stay mindful, they stay helpful, and they reach out to other people,
Well, of all the legacies VRChat can claim, goodbye world. I'm back. Of all the legacies VRChat could take claims to, at least they could say when VRChat closes to the next platform, whatever it is, at least the community will still talk about VRChat and have that same mentality. I have a feeling no matter how far VR and augmented reality and this amazing tech goes, you'll still hear and see echoes of VRChat in the future. A lot like Second Life now. No one really plays Second Life the community who played Second Life hasn't really played in over 10 years, but you still hear echoes of it now. Similar, VRChat will be very similar.
Oh, I have a special guest joining us, if that's all right with you guys.
It's more than all right.
I believe he's
right, the
ready
ice
to
cream
join
guy's
us.
here with the pizza, right?
Yeah, he's coming with a pizza.
He brought the pizza. I hope he brought the ice cream. Last week I forgot the soda to put on there. Yeah. My bad.
Okay, let's hope he brings the candies.
Let's hope he brings the candies indeed. Is this the other...
Halloween's here! Ooh.
Yeah, this is the person. This is Dre. This is my friend. We've been working closely. He's loaded in, I believe.
Okay.
We've been working closely on the project of Exposure, and he actually helped me a lot with all the voice acting within the game. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll help you. I believe you'll hear it from him.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello, let me turn your avatar on. Hobby boop.
That's the word. That's the sounds I usually make when I do it too. It's like the beep beep beep.
You want to sit next to Aoki here? That we can get you in the camera?
Sure.
Okay, and then we'll take the fun little flying camera feature, and then do this. So,
Did you bring the pizza, sir?
I wish I did. No. I did not bring the pizza. I'm so sorry.
I forgot to give him a tip last time. That's what happened. Yeah.
really, Raptor?
You get the
I
tip.
missed out on that.
You're gonna order pizza,
I
not
know,
tip the
I
guy,
know.
you dick.
I know I'm a dick. I'm sorry. I forgot to give the guy a tip. But I did. I did give him a tip, though. I told him not to eat yellow snow. But he didn't like that idea. So. Okay.
So,
Welcome to the Nuthead.
Well, glad to be here.
to quote Skyrim, who are you?
But, well, I'll quote a little bit of Skyrim. I used to be an adventurer like you, but that's what I used to do. But right now, I'm just standing here on this corner with this broke ass knee.
So, from what we hear from Aoki here is you are one of the voice actors that people helped with Exposure.
Oh, yes, I was. I was asked by Aoki before the project if I was interested in doing a project, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then a few months later, I was like, hey, I got this script I want you to read. I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, send it. And it was pretty much like that. It was pretty quick too.
Oh,
Yeah, he was really quick with all of the voice lines. I'll just be sending them scripts, and the next day he's already finished with that. So he's really fast with it too.
I ran into my bathroom because that's the only place I'm able to like record with enough like enough good quality, I guess. There's not a lot of noise back there. So
oh,
Wow. Like they say, when you're in the shitter, everything goes the way it's supposed to. Think about it, folks. You get the
100%.
Man,
You
you
are not
got
wrong,
it.
sir. You are not wrong. My best work is in the toilet.
idea. You got it.
I produce fantastic work.
Gotcha.
So, are you the voice of the AI that goes off in the world whenever you do things, or is that a person?
Yes, the voice of Andy, the robotic voice you see throughout the game, it was all Dre.
Oh, that's really awesome. Honestly, I did really
awesome to be part of it.
I did really enjoy a lot of those lines in the characters' words, especially around the end, around the button. Yeah, go ahead, push the button again. That was one of my favorite bits.
A few of my friends were like, how long I'm going to press this button? I'm just sitting there like on mute laughing hysterically. I'm like, hey, just keep pressing that button. You know you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I pushed the button too, and I got zapped too many times.
Oh, no. The button is long past when you died in that video. And near the end.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember the bit of the video where Zero is just there rapidly pushing the button, gives up after about 5 minutes of pushing the button, leaves, comes back, pushes the button a bunch of times again. Yeah, that whole scene at the end was hilarious.
It takes a while, but I love it. I love how it's dragged out. It's like little by little you're thinking to yourself, I'm like, I'm gonna press this button. And then you press the button and then you just get insulted and made fun of.
Insulted for pushing the button.
And you're like,
You dumb fool,
I don't
I
really
told
like
you
you,
not
but
to
I'm
push
kind of
the
want to hear
button.
what you have to
What's wrong
say.
Yeah, I got you. Well, got another sucker. Anybody else want to get in line? Push this bitch. Come on, I dare you. Come on, do it again.
Oh, it was so
Yeah.
fun. It's like, oh, you think if you press it again, something's gonna happen? Nothing's gonna happen. Press. Oh, look, maybe something's gonna happen. I'm like, I love this. I love this.
It was great.
It was very enjoyable. Have you ever voice acted before?
Oh, never. Funny thing, kind of like I don't want to be like that guy that's like, oh, you like gave me this, like one of my dreams. It's like I always wanted to be part of a video game. So as soon as I had the opportunity, I would have loved to have taken it, but I don't have any skills of that nature. So Aoki was like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I was just like, "Yes, yes, I'll do everything I can." And I was so happy that to see just me standing there talking. I was like, "Yes, I was like, this is great."
That's actually really awesome.
And the lines were just beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, I love the lines. It was an interesting opportunity for me because I had learning from like different ways how people talk from different cultures and stuff. And like one of the lines that I remember when we were discussing it, and Aoki sends it back. It's like, could you make it sound a little less devious? And I'm thinking like, how do you make going all according to my master plan not sound devious? It's like, right? So I'm sitting in the bathroom just laughing at myself like, I know this is definitely a cultural thing. It's like, there's no way I can say this line in English so it won't sound like I'm doing something horrible. It's like all going according to my master plan, and I get a text back, can you make that sound less devious? I'm like, that's like the most devious thing you could say.
Cool.
But I loved it. It was a challenge, but I loved every second of it. It was hella fun. So fun.
You have any favorite lines or quotes that you were a part of from that game?
One of my favorite ones. Let's see. I enjoyed all of the ones on the button. That one I took a lot of fun with, because when I was reading the script, I'm like, oh, this looks. I'm really good at like anticipating where the story's gonna go. And when I was talking with Aoki about it, I was like, yeah, I know what this is. I know how to do this one. And the button scene was definitely my favorite. But my favorite line that I liked was when you go into the room and there's a dead dude on the floor. It's like, and it's like, oh, you don't need this key. I don't think
never
you
got
need this
that
key
far.
card, or she, or he, or whoever that is on the floor. I was like, yes.
When you pick up the key card, there was a line in GO2 laboratory. You get this line when Andy says, "Oh, I don't think you no longer need this, ma'am, sir, ma'am,
sir,
whatever."
ma'am, whatever. Yeah, that was my favorite
I
line.
never got that far.
It took me a while to get through that. It took me a while to get through that because I kept laughing because I'm just thinking to myself like, I don't know how to say this or how people when they approach how they're gonna hear it. So I just kept laughing because I was trying different voices and stuff. And I think I sent you like 3 different. I tried to send at least 3 or 4 different lines said differently. You know, so I can choose between which ones would work better.
Okay.
Or mix and match.
Because this is a thing, because Dre was doing all this work without actually knowing what the world is going to look like, how people are going to interact with it. So he did it all basically blind, and he, I think, did it perfectly.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's like, I had a good cheerleader. You were helping me get through that for real. So I needed your advice and everything that you were telling me.
Yeah, but the funny part of it all is if you listen to what he's saying, right, Line? Right? He's doing this all in the shitter, and he's getting somebody else's opinion on how to work it out.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to push this narrative? It's like, hey, you gotta push real hard. You gotta push real hard. I need you to get aggressive.
Push really hard. It's okay until somebody hits the flusher and it's all downhill from there, right? Yeah, it's all down. Hey, is this good? Flush it. It's not right. Flush it again. Okay. Keep flushing it. You'll get it right.
With the delete button, every time I did something wrong, I'm like, delete. I've been technically flushing all my work down.
Oh boy.
Did you learn anything from this whole experience of voice acting for Exposure?
Oh, well, I learned that I could do it. Well, that was one thing. It's like at first I didn't know if I was able to have like maybe I needed like the right equipment or stuff like that. I gained a little bit more confidence that I could just like use my phone sending just regular digital stuff, and being dependent on the person that I'm working with too to make the sound right too. You know, I know that Aoki does really good work. so was gonna make my voice sound the way it was supposed to be, or however the scenes needed it to be. So that was, I learned that, you know, the work, it's a little bit hard, but I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. It was fun, and that experience, being able to like dedicate myself to try to like do an acting thing. You know, I'm not like an actor in any way. It's like I perform for my friends, but so this gave me an opportunity to like focus it, like zero it in. I was like, oh, you know, maybe I can get into something like this, and now I can actually like put it down, like, hey, I did a voice acting for Exposure, if someone asked, and they could see it, and I'm like, oh, so yeah, like that's what I gained a lot of confidence from it, because I was learning a lot of new things, like one was step by step, so that was good too.
You did a really good job. I enjoyed your the Andy was his name, correct?
Yeah.
Andy was hilarious. I enjoyed him.
The Andy was kind of funny too, when Aoki said, "Oh, I'm gonna name him Andy." I started giggling, and I was like, "That was my childhood name," so I felt like it was almost appropriate for me. Yeah, it was like, I thought that was, I was like, "What? No way!" I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's my childhood name." It's like that's what like my elders called me, and my brothers and sisters. I'm like, "Hey,
And
I
it was
like
pure
this."
accident as well.
Yeah, pure
I
accident. It was
just
beautiful.
felt I just felt that this character would really go well with Dre, and I felt that Andy was just this specific name was a perfect fit for this.
So, who is Andy, and what's his place in the world of Exposure? I ask. An open-ended question for both of you.
Okay, so would you like to, or
No, I'll
would
let
you
you
like
handle
me
this
to?
one. Yes.
Okay. So Andy is an artificial intelligence that was accompanying the mission of Exposure on this spacecraft. You may think of him as a program, basically, but essentially he had a body, and you find his parts laying on the table when you first meet him, when the first sequence of the game in the projector room starts. So all of the disassembled parts of the Andy's body you can see in this room in particular, because when the ship was still reaching its destination, one team found some errors in its initial program that was kind of funky, you know? You've heard Andy, you know what I'm talking about. So, and they decided to shut him down before the exposure even started. But in the game, he found a way to wake himself up, but without the body he was in. So the little attachment on your wrist that you see in the game has a speaker, and Andy was able to program himself into this little device to talk to you, because it was also the one that accompanied you on your cryosleep journey.
Oh wow, that's actually a whole lot I didn't know. I gotta go back and read all the previous content now. All the content.
Yeah, like I said, with exposure, it's really hard to get everything right just from one playthrough in Vrchat. Even though there's some like little Easter eggs, like a QR code that leads to a whole new website of Nebula, or like the PC that you didn't get to interact with because you didn't know it was possible. There was some internet information there as well. So it's just little things that may not be in Vrchat, but there's some that in the world itself.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, looks like I'll be doing a lot more playthroughs of that just to figure it all out. Is it for everything I've heard of how you guys describe the story, it sounds like a very interesting and well thought out piece.
Yeah,
but-
hopefully I
but
get
it's
past
sad.
the radio.
Yeah, just don't play with it.
Well, nobody told me
Yeah,
I couldn't. I
Don't
just-
don't play with the radio.
Don't play with
Yeah,
the
but
radio,
once you-
folks.
Once you figure out the dangers that this world of exposure possesses, as the name states, exposure means radioactive exposure. So when you're exposed to radiation, you're taking damage and essentially dying, unfortunately.
Like you did.
It's
Yeah,
like you did.
unfortunately, yeah, because I was stupid enough going, nobody said to stop pushing it after 3 or 4 times. Yeah, no big deal.
3 or 4. You sat
It's
there for a good
okay.
solid 30 seconds, just pushing the on button.
I know. On button. Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, I wanted to be a glow stick for everybody so they could see where they were going. That was pretty much what it was. Yeah. Good excuse. Good excuse.
Good excuse indeed.
Nothing I could come up with.
Hmm.
Yep.
So, would you ever do more voice acting then, Dre?
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Like 100%. It would be a pleasure to do it again. You know, and to be perfectly honest, it's like I just like the exposure of being able to do it.
I like your pun there. That was a really good pun.
Yeah, yeah. I hurt myself saying that. By the way, I think I aged about 4 years. It's like, that kind of hurt.
Well,
God, if that's the case, every time I did a pun, I'd be dead. I'm
Yeah,
always
I'm
doing
working on
stupid
it.
shit. Oh, you're working on it. Okay. Hey, I got room, man. I got plenty of room next to the double coffin over here.
Getting
Yeah, I
older
got
from
you.
jokes is fine with me. Getting older from
Yeah,
jokes
that'd
is
be
fine with me.
great.
You know, I remember one pun I did at work, and I work at a grocery store, and it aged everybody immediately. And my bosses, I work in a produce department. My bosses dropped a few cases of blueberries on the floor. I walked in after the fact when they're both just staring at it. And I walk in, and before I could filter out anything from what my thoughts are, it just came out of my mouth. And it was, wow, you guys look buried. And both of them stopped, and you could hear the disappointment come out of their soul. And then they go back to picking up their mess.
Yep. It's the best when everything is quiet. Almost like a samurai about to cut the blossoms. It just gets real quiet. Nobody hears that. You're like, something's about to happen, but nothing happens. It's just disappointment.
Just the dirty looks that you get from everybody staring at you, like, wow. What the hell is
Feels
wrong
so good.
with
Feels
you?
so good.
And
Yes,
you just walk
exactly.
away with a grin on your face going, sucker. Yeah, it works every
Yes, sir,
time.
sucker.
Works
Joke's
every
on you. I
time.
meant that. I meant this bad joke.
Yep.
You may hate the bad joke, but I enjoyed every minute of it. Now I'm more than likely use it another 3 more times and hear the exact same
Yeah,
disappointment
just
come
because of
from
their
you.
face. Yeah.
I don't care what people say. Puns are the spice of conversation.
Yes. Yes. Like it's like a garnish on your salad.
Exactly. A garnish a lot of people don't like, but I'll use it.
I mean, you know,
I'm
some of them
not
are bitter,
saying
but
nothing to that. I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
I don't want to be gross. Yeah.
oh,
The thing at hell with it. I've never changed now.
yes,
You know,
be
after
gross.
you finish
Yes, be gross.
after the finish of the salad, right? And you look at your plate and there's still a little bit of that salad dressing there. Are you the kind of person that going, is anybody watching? I'll lick the bottom of the plate and everybody will look at me and going, you are so screwed up. Hey, I went to the last bit, man. Yeah, somebody has to clean the plate. At least the dishwasher
you're not
don't have
alone
to
in
clean
that.
it. Oh,
You're not
okay.
alone
So
in
I
that.
feel
You're not
I
alone
don't
in
feel so bad now. Yeah, gotcha.
I've licked the plate. I have done the look around for a couple of seconds like I'm about to do something awful, and I'm like, this plate's going in my face.
Oh, I got one here for you, Lion, if we're going to talk about weird stuff. If you ever get a chance and you're in a restaurant, I do this all the time, right? Correct? And you might be sitting next to the window or you might be the next booth where you can see out the window. Just all of a sudden do this, folks. stare out the window really intensely, and everything else. Before it's over, everybody's looking out the window and ain't a damn thing going on. It's funny. It's downright funny.
It's cool.
Another fun thing
That
to
is
do
pretty funny.
under the same vein is if you're like walking a public place like a mall, a busy streetway, just pretend to step over something that's not there and then look back at the person behind you and then continue walking. After about a minute, everyone else walking past that point will be stepping over something that they don't know why they're stepping over the nothing. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. Everybody follows suit.
it's-
Why?
Yup, you
Nobody
just go.
knows.
One of my
Yep, done
favorite
that.
things I used to like doing was like walking around like this, like going for a high five and seeing who's gonna go for it. You know, I walk down the street, I lock eyes with someone by accident, and I just go like this. I just keep walking steadily. I'm not changing my pace, nothing. It's like one of the more fun things I like to do with random people. And it's like, and some will do it, you know, and it's good. It'll get me through the day. Others, if they don't, I'm just like, oh. But it's like they have no fun. Like, who's gonna turn down a high five? It's like the universal sign of peace.
Yeah, man. Yep.
You know, you
No
saying,
one gives a high fives are for fun.
oh yeah, heads down. I don't think anyone's gonna ever turn down a high five ever. Well, unless you're an ass.
Well, I mean, I hate to say that, you know, I have a kind of a rugged face. Maybe they don't want to do that because of that, but you know, kind of walk around with a mean mug. So it's not on purpose, but it's like, so it's kind of off-putting. See somebody like, want to give me a high five? You're like, I don't know.
You know,
That's how my.
you saying that reminded me of a time when I used to take the bus all the time. And one of my favorite pastimes on the bus was just to look at someone and I'd stare at them until they look at me and I'll just wave at them. And I'll keep on repeatedly waving at
He's like,
them
"Hello."
to see how long they'll continue waving at me. I think the longest one I've did was at like 20 minutes. Just waving at them and they'll look at
Oh,
me and they'll look at, and they'll wave back, and I'll just continue waving back at them nonstop, just to see how long I can keep it going
Yes.
for.
Yes. I love it. I freaking love it. It's like,
Oh,
we
the
need people like this in the world.
Next time you walk it through a mall or anything like that, like Line says, stepping over, my favorite one is to look up and then act like something just fell, like
Something's
a drop
there.
of rain. Yeah, you drop and move. People walk around you for some stupid reason that they think there's something falling from the ceiling.
It's
That,
definitely all
here's
our
the one
primitive
that
brains
never makes any
messing with us.
sense. This one never
Yeah.
makes any sense. Here's one for you. It might be a mall, it might be on a street, but look at common people, and I get a kick out of this. I used to do this in when I had spare time. We'd go to the mall, get a cup of coffee or soda, sit down in a bench or wherever you can sit, and watch people walk. Most 100% of the time, somebody's looking at their goddamn feet. You think they run into something. They don't look up. They just look at their, well, today now it's their phone, but they look at their feet
Right.
and go, you run through your mind going, what the hell is on the ground that's so interesting to look at? Because I can't see it, and I'm standing back going, won't you run into somebody? And they don't look up. You just sit there and watch them walk going, they're still doing it. I used to do it in school. I actually popped up one time in school. Teacher walked through and everything else through the double doors and everything else like this. Was looking at it. She come back, same way and everything else like this. And all of a sudden I was still sitting there. She come back again. I just all of a sudden asked her, what's on the floor that's so interesting? Is it the lines or something or what? Because you didn't look up at all where you were going. I'm amazing the classes didn't get out because you would have walked right into them. You know what they did? They just looked at me and cocked their head like I was a complete strange idiot. After that, when they came back, they were looking forward. That's what's funny.
After that, they're like, we're going to look like this now.
Yeah, I gotta change my looks, you know. I don't want anybody to
change my
know
look.
I'm doing something stupid. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's
You know-
the way it goes.
Something I want to do now with you mentioning the floor thing is when people are looking at their feet or the ground, just run up and look down, look at them. What are you looking at? And just stare at their feet with them.
Yeah. Get really low and like investigate the space and look at it, and then look up at them like, really? I see what you mean. Like, wow.
Or pull out a handkerchief or something like that.
Look for it.
And polish it.
Yep.
Spit on it and polish the floor for me. Hey, don't worry, it's not dangerous no more. Yeah, you don't have to worry about stepping in it. Yeah,
The funny thing, if you do
sometimes.
stuff like that, whoever you do that to will have a funny story. Somebody just ran up and looked at my feet and said, "This looks amazing," and then left. I still don't know what the fuck they were looking at.
I don't know. That's the best in the world. Just leaving people with random thoughts or something like that. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's like I'm trying to remember. I think it was Lewis Black. I think he said it. I'm trying to remember if it was him or someone else with the name Black. But it was a comedian. He's like he was walking around and he heard someone say, "Who are you people and where is my horse?" And still to this day he doesn't know what that means. And I'm like, now I got that in my head. I'm like, that's comedy. It's like saying something like completely and then just throwing that in their brain and have them think about it. And then you just walk off.
You know,
Another one to try to do, but if you don't get in trouble for doing it, is if you got a quarter in your pocket, walk up to somebody randomly, just walk up and go, "Here, sir," and just hand it to them, knowing they can see it. They'll look at you, put their hand out, and then walk away. They're going, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this? It's a quarter. What else are you supposed to do with it?" Out here now. I've done that 3 times. 3 times in my lifetime, and people,
That's awesome.
you know, and you know what happens if they've got a kid or something like that? They just hand it to the kid, and the kid looks at them like, "What the hell am I supposed to do with it?" It's a quarter gift. It's destroying people. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun when you wanna make havoc somewhere in the world, and that's the simplest way without causing too much trouble. I had one. Don't get me wrong. The third time I did that, the person threw it at me. He threw a quarter at me.
Like, what?
Yeah, I
Like,
walked up and handed it to him. Walked off. He turned around and threw the damn thing like it was diseased quarter, like it's got something
like,
on it.
How dare you give me this?
I got a pocket full of this shit. Why would I want another one?
Exactly. I don't want
I don't
another
know. What the hell?
What am I supposed to do? Keep it company? Get out of my face.
Another fun thing to do if you want to be funny and confuse people. You know the people that will wait in a deadpan in a direction? Just walk up, stand beside them, look the same direction, and do the same thing they're doing. Eventually, people will start gathering and trying to see what you're looking at, and just deadpan with them. And by the time the person comes back to reality, they'll just see a bunch of people standing around them for no reason, standing in the same direction. Wow, I was thinking about how many pieces of cheese fit in a burger to come back. I don't know how long later. There's like 12 people just staring in the direction next to me. And the funny thing is no one will know what's going on.
That's a beautiful thing. It's like just watching people just like it is a cool phenomenon that we all kind of do that. It's like I've found myself seldomly walking into situations. I'm like, yeah, I'm being pranked. It's like, but I guess our mammalian brain just can't help it. We're interesting creatures. So it's like, ooh, what's that? And like, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. We're in the world to be time wasters, and that's good. You know, sometimes we need a little bit of break. And it's a good time. That's how I look at it.
It is nice. And little stories and stuff like that is what genuinely makes, I'd say, will give someone more positive to think about. It's not like you're going out and about and trying to ruin someone's day. They're just kind of standing there wondering why there's people around them, or why they have an extra quarter in their hand now, or whatever it is.
Yes, they got a new story to tell, and that's what's great about it. It's like their whole day has been completely changed by this one random person that decided to, like without meaning to intrude in their day, because they were doing something completely different. Now they're doing this. It's like...
You know, I wonder how many stories
and-
from VRChat are like that too. Just someone comes up, stares off in a direction, does something random. You know, a VRChat phenomenon similar to that I noticed is when you jump. Hold on, let me turn this off. Flying camera. When you jump in a world, everyone jumps with you. If you jump repeatedly, everyone will
Yes.
begin jumping with you.
When it starts to,
And
Mhm.
you'll see a bunch of
It's-
people like, in mirrors
it's
across
the universal
the world.
hello or okay or something like that. Same thing with like crouching in video games.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you just walk up to someone, you just start crouching, they'll look at you and they'll be like, okay, and then you crouch again, and then they crouch, and everyone starts crouching, and they're like, we're just doing power squats real quick. We're just doing some power squats.
Oh, that reminded me of a time back in Halo 2 when Halo Online was a thing. I don't know why, but at one point I was with my cousin playing online maps, and I just began walking across the map crouching. Just no reason, just crouching up and down. And then people started lining up behind me, just crouching with me as I'm kind of doing this. Just up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't, maybe I was amusing myself. I don't remember, but it was hilarious. It's an entire lobby of people.
That's when you know you get like a really good vibe, because it's like I think that we all fall for it because we kind of want to, you know. It does make the world more fun. It's like fool me a little bit, you know, kind of like a magician. But be funny about it though. Don't ha-ha me and throw me down a well.
Well, that's kind of half the fun too. Is sometimes you get a great lobby where everyone's doing a line of crouching or dancing about like goofs. Other times,
Yeah.
it's not. But that's kind of half the fun of the internet, is the chaos of it all.
Yes, I agree. That's why I was here. It's like meeting random people and people from all over the world, and how they act and interact, cultures and all that, and definitely the chaotic people. It's like they make this place fun. It's like sometimes it's annoying, but they make this place fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So, what brought you to VR and VR chat in general then?
At first it was the beginning of all this, you know, sickness stuff. Like a lot of people were losing their jobs, including myself. So one of my friends came to me and he was like, oh, I bought an Oculus. And then it just dawned on me, I have money. I can buy stuff. Like it literally just
Sudden
dawned on me.
realization.
It was a beautiful realization too, because I was like, I wanted an Oculus for so long. I'm making money and everything like that. I have all this free time, and then he shows up like, hey, I have an Oculus, and my brain was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this thing. And then after that, I bought the laptop and everything. I set this thing up so I could play online, and I was like, yeah. It's like, and then I convinced another friend to get it, but you know he's a family man, and he couldn't get on too much. But I forced him to basically buy the same thing, and we saw this, and I was like, let's go there. It's like, what's this VR chat? Let's meet some people. And we got on, and then he started being a family man again, and I haven't seen him, so I started coming on by myself, and it was a little bit scary at first. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like I was a little like concerned of mirror dwellers until I've been here for about like 6 months. that was a fun culture shock. I was like, everyone's staring at the mirrors. I kind of like looking at people, so I'm standing in front of them, and they're like, "Get out of the way." I'm like, "I'm trying to talk to you, though." It was so weird. I felt so misplaced for the first few months, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why they're looking at the mirror."
Well,
it's like, because they can talk to each other by looking at it. I'm like, nah, this doesn't seem right. But okay.
I kind of get that when I first.
Then I found out the personal.
When I first hopped in VR chat, I didn't know mirrors were a thing, so I saw a bunch of people with a black hat staring at a wall. It's like, why are you staring at a wall? What's so interesting?
Yeah.
And so I walked up to the wall, just staring at it. Cool, it's gray. Why are we looking at it? That was my big confusion of it.
Oh, you're suddenly the one person that is being pranked, but only in VR chat.
The one person who
Yeah,
was
it was
pranked.
happening to us here.
Yup.
That's what it is. It's happening to us when we get here.
So to both of you, here's a question. What was your first true VR chat experience? And I can give an example if you'd like. what I
Yes,
mean by
please.
that. So when I first hopped in VRchat, oop, come on, camera, do the thing. So when I hopped in VRchat, I found out what Murder 4 was, and I've shared this story a lot, and it's one of my favorite stories. I hopped in Murder 4, and there's a lobby of questies off in a corner, huddled together in e-girl avatars, little lolly e-girls, moaning Oni-chan. And I walked in, noped the fuck out as fast as a home button would take me.
Oh, okay. I see. I see where we're going with this. All right.
It doesn't have to be that lewd,
Would you like to go first?
but like a
like-
shocking
I
VR
have
chat
to
story.
think of one. They have to think of one first, yeah.
Oh, well, one of my experience in here, but I guess I kind of caused it. Same thing was with the Murder 4 room. I was playing on mute for a while, and then I got on, and I see there was like a few quests and PC people in there. It was about like 7 or 8, and I joined, and everyone's talking. It looks like a lively bunch, so I take off my my mute, but I remember that I like having like music in the background, so I'm listening to Alice in Wonderland's Cheshire Cat song when he's singing to Alice when she's going through the woods. It's like, right? That's the song that's in the background. So I'm the detective. I'm like, ooh, and I'm just starting this, so I'm like, I was reading the stuff, and I'm like, oh, so I'm the guy that has to go find the bad guy. So I run to the room, I find the gun. People are telling me like, oh, where the gun is and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. Like, oh, where's the gun? They're being nice to me. I grab the gun, and I turn, and I press play. And the mole rats outgrave. I just point the gun. I say that, and I point the gun at the person. Pow! And then it drops on the floor. And then I pick it up, and I'm just like, I'm singing the whole song. In the background, just shooting everyone in the room. Chaos ensues. It's like, so yeah, that was one of my favorite moments. I was like, I just want to do something crazy, and I just started singing the Cheshire Cat while I'm shooting it. The gun drops on the floor, I pick it up, and then they're like, "What's he doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh, it's like we're all mad here." Pah! You may have noticed that I'm not all there myself. And the more rats pick up the gun, oh, great. That's what I'm doing. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not answering any questions. I'm just saying the lines.
Yeah. So, do you have a story?
Yeah, so the first true VR chat experience, right? I don't know if this one was suited. So, like Dre, pretty much, I've been on mute for a while, and my interactions were kind of awkward because I didn't know any sign language or any sort of communication aside from pens in the world. So just go into public instances, find somewhere to play pool by myself. And I remember people coming over and saying, "Are you playing by yourself? Would you like me to join?" And this was the first opportunity for me to make connections within this game, to actually find some people to hang out with in the future. And this is actually how I met Dre. I was finishing my pool session with someone, and they left. So I was alone again, and Dre comes over like, "Are you playing by yourself?" And this is funny because you basically in a public instance with a pool table playing by yourself, just enable. It's just hilarious to watch. And you're mute, so you have to find a pen to write down what are you trying to say? Are you trying to communicate with people? It was really funny. But as time went by, I found my voice, I guess. And he was really surprised to hear it.
Yes. I was like, "Oh!" I was like, "Hey, like I can hear you."
So yeah, it was a little bit of Johnny just joining the VR chat. it was a process.
So what?
Easily best friends, though. Easily best friends. This person, goodness gracious, this is such a cool person to hang out with. Like Aoki, I mean, swear, he's like, I had so much fun all the time, and coincidentally was my teacher with the ASL and was extremely patient with me. Extremely. It's like I was very surprised because I could be a little bit of a class clown, I guess. So I'm making jokes and it's like, and Aoki's going along with it, and I'm like, thank you. I don't feel like I'm being pressured to learn. I'm having fun doing this.
Being a good teacher is a really impressive feat, since a lot of people don't have the patience to do it.
Oh, she right here, right here.
You don't have to give me that much credit for this, but it was pretty fun. Just letting people know that this is one of the ways of communications on VRchat, and not just within the mute community, but for other people as well who might feel a little bit awkward coming out with voice, essentially, but still being able to communicate with others just by using gestures, which are available in VRchat by default.
So do you need finger tracking to communicate with sign language in VR, or you can do it without, like with the headsets, like the old Quests and stuff, that you don't have access to fingers and stuff?
I don't actually have access to fingers, so I have basic gestures, and it's possible to do that as well. It's no problem. So the community of VRchat, the mute community, they made it accessible for all people and all headsets to be able to communicate, no matter of whether using like Valve Index, where you have full finger control, or like just regular Quest, or
So back in the beginning, when you were mute and you decided to speak, what made you feel comfortable enough to speak and be yourself?
No, it was just a long journey of me actually trying to communicate and share my ideas as a mute. But as time went by, I found myself having a little less time spending practicing ASL, so I truly couldn't express the most complex ideas I had using this method either way. So by using my voice, I found it more easier and more comfortable just to express myself within VRchat. Even though it was not as easy at first as it might have seemed.
That's fair. Well, I'm glad you found a way to become yourself here in VRchat. More so yourself, if that's how you feel. One of the things I found VRchat does well is, for some reason, it helps people find some self-journey discovery. They'll come in one thing and leave another. Look at me, I went in not being me, and now I'm a furry, I guess.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. There's a lot of self-discovery here. It's like you find yourself either liking more of a thing you didn't know you like, or finding yourself like, oh, that's a little bit too much. It's like it definitely goes like that. It's definitely a wave.
I guess that's one of the many highlights.
But I agree. Yeah, I agree. The fact of the furry thing that you said earlier, it's like this. Like that was one thing that I definitely came around to. It's like the furry avatars are amazing here, like superb. That's very well done, and very pretty to look at. It's scary, and it's scary, and but I love it.
It's one of the things that dragged me to the avatars, because initially, no offense to the human bases, but when I started 2020, I found them kind of boring. But then there's the furry
Mm.
avatars, and they have details and hair. Some of them have hair that move at the time, and so much detail thought into it. And then there's some human in a shirt and stuff. It's like, this is cool. I see this outside.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you're right. You're right.
It was just, that was what initially dragged me to it. I think the first instance of me wearing an avatar was with like Scottish Ripper stuff, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, with avatars, it's like a whole new journey, especially for a new person joining Vrchat. You don't really know who you are here or how you want to present yourself to others, because you have all the control that you might have asked for.
Mhm.
Indeed.
You really have the ability to do literally anything you want, go anywhere you want. And that was one of the bigger things about this place that I enjoy the most. I could literally type on the search engine pool, go to a pool, mountain, go to the top of a mountain. I want to see Fiji. Why? I don't know. Type it. Somebody put it out there. Let's go. It's like, and that was something like, I think for the first like 6 months when I was here and everything was getting used to it, that was like the first things I was doing, going to the new worlds and just meeting new creators for different places. It's like I didn't really go to a lot of the public worlds. Not that I can't be in public, but it's exhausting dealing with a lot of people sometimes. So I would just travel and meet them as I go, which makes the wandering here so much fun. It's like when you wander out in the real world, you're more of a like kind of like skittish, kind of like a squirrel, like you don't know what's gonna happen. But here it's like you're relatively safe, you know. And you're just going anywhere. Like I can go into a spooky forest and enjoy it, and I hate spooky stuff, but I can go to a spooky forest. It's like I can go wherever I want, anywhere. And that makes this place great. That's what makes Vrchat like the best thing. You can go anywhere or be anything. Like I think I was a dust particle not too long ago.
You know,
just skidding around on the floor.
I've noticed Vrchat has a trend with new players, whether they know it or not. You'll come in and the first thing everyone wants is their own avatar. So you'll go advanced in public avatars. Generally, the next step is to have one custom made. From there, you either branch out into full body or creator of some sort is generally the trend where you go.
Right.
You either go full body and you dance
That's
or sit in front of a mirror, or you go make your own avatar to get there, or make worlds. And generally from there is where I see a lot of trend, like the new beginner path and journey.
You're right. I see that. That is true. It's like a lot of the times, like my path, I'm stuck right now between either the full body or the creator. I think that's where I'm at. Because I have really cool ideas for avatars and worlds, but I don't know if I have the patience. And then on the other hand, I want to get the full body because I like dancing and I do a lot of the MMD worlds here and the Just Dance. So it's like that gives me a motivation to keep moving. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll give myself some feet and a hip so I don't look like Kermit the Frog when I dance.
Well, I will tell you, full body's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks it. Don't be mad at me, but usually when I see people in full body, I'm like, dance for me. I feel bad, but I'm like, why do I feel bad? You got the kid on. Like, look at you, you're looking fabulous. Like, get up and dance. Show me why you have that on. And they look at me and they start laughing, and they're like, and then they'll stand up. I'm like, thank you. Like, turn around, like, do that, please.
To be fair, there are 3 kinds of people. Those who get VR to dance, or full body to dance. Those who get full body for a different kind of dancing, which involves a private room and a bed. And then there's me. I got it to feel more expressive in my avatar because, no offense to half body, but I don't feel like I can express myself well enough, even though, like most full body users, it's like kind of like this in front of a mirror, but at least you get more body, body language from me, I guess is a way to put it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely more immersive too. So it's like you see the person that's sitting there, they're moving, and it's more fluid. And if they situate themselves in the right places, like where they're sitting, they're actually sitting on chairs and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Although we,
It's like one of my favorite things is to tell people to look at their play space. Like, show me how big your play space is, and watching them walking around.
you know, I can't
And
wait for the
I don't know
day.
if it's creepy.
It's not.
It's like, I tell people like, oh, this is where your bed is. This is no. I mean, like, I'm kind of an investigator, so when they're doing stuff and I see them step up, I'm like, that must be your bed, and they're like, mm-hmm. And then they walk up like, so your bed is here, the wall is here, this is there, this is there, this is there. They're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, I just kind of had a picture of your whole room right now. I know where you live. That's what I meant. Like that I do that. I do that. And I'm just being. I don't know if that's just me being interesting. Like I'm like interested in this stuff, but it comes off as a little creepy. Like, is he mapping out my house?
He knows where I live. I have to move out.
Something you can add to the end of that when they're done moving is like, good, I now can see your apartment. I'm looking at you, and just kind of do this motion and just say nothing.
Yeah, pretend I'm looking in through a window. I was like, so this is where your window is, right? And then I just do that motion. And they're like, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just looking. And I make sure I'm facing them too while I'm looking through that window.
Oh.
And when they move, I move. When they move, I move.
You know,
yeah, just standing there like this.
One of my favorite thing to see with people who like are explaining where their play space is or enjoying their full body of the room is watching people walk into their wall, forgetting it's their wall.
I like people with pets because they either trip over them or you hear them in the background running around their feet.
Sometimes you can become too immersed in VR and you just kind of forget where reality is, and you see people trip over their bed or fall face first or walk into their closet.
It actually happens to me a lot.
Oh,
like
really?
the first few months were a bit painful because when you're playing pool by yourself, you disable boundaries. And when you have not such a big play space, you're gonna hit a few walls. Luckily, my controllers didn't break, but they drift a bit. Still working though.
You know, one of my most memorable forgetting about reality moments was in the Forest VR. And there was a cannibal coming up on my right, coming at me to attack me. So I panicked, and I'm sitting on my bed like I am now, and I turn, I pull the spear back, and I thrust it into the dude. I kill him. I also kill my controllers instantaneously by thrusting them into the nightstand, obliterating them on impact.
Yeah, kind of the same thing happened to me, but just with a pool, you have two hands control. So when you do the here, one of the hands is going to hit the wall either way if you're facing the wrong direction for some reason because you were swirling around for quite some time.
I kind of feel bad sometimes for people with kids and family who live with them, where you're like really immersed in the game, attacking things, and then your kid or civic other comes in front of you and just accidentally punch him in the face.
Deadly punch.
Yeah. I do feel bad when moments like that happen, but also it's just as amusing as watching the YouTube videos of the skateboarder racking himself with a skateboard.
It's some kind of vibe, to be honest.
And for those who don't know what I mean by racking is when you take your skateboard and it goes vertically directly into your nutsack. Oh, you know, those are the videos I enjoy for some reason. Oh, you're muted, by the way, Dre. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I'm muted. Yeah, I was just going like that, click.
Yeah, I've seen a few moments of that in real life. One of my friends would be skateboarding about. I don't skateboard, but I have friends that do, and I just sit on the porch, watch them go back and forth, and just hits a rock, board goes up, they go down like a sack of bricks. Oh.
Looks like they got stung by a bee or something. They're like, ding, and then they fall down.
In VR, we have all seen people do things like that, where they take the controller and hit themselves with the balls, or walk into their walls, or whatever, forget their nightstands just in line with their waist.
Yeah, it's the cost of getting immersed, I believe. It's worth it.
It is worth
It
it.
might be painful, but it's worth it. You felt the feedback, you know? Like this punch was really meant something.
Well, at least
so
you're
true.
enjoying yourself when you do it, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Usually having a good time when you're breaking your equipment. That should be a rule.
Well, because you won't enjoy it afterwards. You realize you have to spend $150 on new controllers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
It's like, that was fun. It's like always breaking them by accident. It is a funny thing. And you're like, oh man. It's like
well, I do appreciate both of you coming to chat with us. Is there anything you'd like to plug? So where they can follow you or find your content?
I don't know. Just you can visit some of my worlds. You can visit my Twitter, visit my Patreon for some development updates on maybe some upcoming worlds that might come out soon. I hope. But yeah, that's really all. Stay mindful, stay cool, stay creative, stay productive, and be safe, everyone.
nice.
What about you, Dre?
I don't know. I don't really have anything to plug. Just pretty much like what you said. Just be nice. Be nice. It's like,
And with
you know,
that,
that's could be nice.
with that said, everybody, little parting words of wisdom. Before you play VR, make sure you know where your nightstands and your walls and your closets are. It could cost you a lot of money later. Goodbye!